बस यही करना था.
All right, hey everyone, we're back again. The five of us, finally had like intersection of free time, and we have decided this time around to discuss on the use of AI in embedded systems.
Yes.
Well, I think we'll just focus, well, or at least start from how we are using AI in general, the large language models, and then maybe go from there and talk about how relevant it is. Can we use it in embedded systems? To what degree, and so on and so forth. So yeah, whoever feels like jumping in, go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, I think Wasim had one interesting
Yeah,
use case
so
on.
currently I'm exploring
You
AI
threw
like,
Wasim into the under the bus. Good.
yeah,
Well,
nice. So currently I'm exploring like how I can use AI to read or chat with the data sheets. So I tried, but uh, the AI model which I was using, it was chat PDF. So some of the answers was very relevant, and some of the answers it was not able to find it out, like
mhm.
exact register, which register I should update to do
What did,
something.
and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
yeah,
Also, is this a tool that's online where you have to kind of push
yeah,
your
yeah. It is a
PDF?
it is a chat PDF.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
So
What's
I,
this
I
website?
I don't think that is AI's problem. If I give the data sheet to the person who wrote that data sheet, he won't be able to find relevant information in that as
Either.
well.
Fair. 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 My okay. This is interesting because my nephew is trying to program the STM32, and for some reason he had to program the DAC or something.
Yeah.
And there was like, okay, I'm paraphrasing him, but he reported that there were few bits that were undocumented, and he found it
Hmm.
on Reddit or somewhere. Finally cracked the problem that way. But yeah, I think the documentation is also reliable to like a good degree, but not 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. That said, along the same lines of what Wasim was mentioning, I was also on the side trying to explore, AIs that can, or rather the LLM models that can be used to chat with the PDFs. But I wanted to do so like locally.
Hmm.
So I was trying OLama, Llama
And
3,
any
and
reason for the local way?
well, I suppose I was trying it out for our audience majorly, in the sense that if you're working on a proprietary piece of
Oh.
hardware and the
Hmm.
data sheet for that is like local to your
Hmm.
company,
Hmm. Hmm.
then it wouldn't be like a good idea to push it
Upload
onto,
it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
some cloud based AI. So the Olama, at least I have had like good success. Good success. I've had some success running it
Hmm.
locally. At least the LLM models run and it responds back to general queries. Answers, like I don't rely on the answers usually.
Hmm.
The PDF part, I have not cracked it. There are a lot of tutorials that I'm watching that go around,
Hmm.
kind of, they call it RAG, some uh, generating. So what happens is there is like a bunch of Python libraries that you need to kind of use to first convert the PDF document into just texts, and then convert that text into like vectors or embeddings, and then
Hmm.
feed it as a training data to the LLMs. And then after all of that, go ahead, we can go ahead and ask it questions.
Nice.
So I've just seen few tutorials, didn't get to the point where I was feeding it the local PDF. But yeah, that seems something useful and relevant for us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
wonder how. So most of these models have now are becoming model, right? So we can attach the
Mm-hmm.
complete PDF document. Can we
Mm-hmm.
can we upload the PDF document into Bing or ChatGPT?
I don't know,
Well,
but in Google I/O
hmm.
they mention that you can provide a PDF document and it will parse the document and then it will you know act as it knows about that PDF, and then you can ask any questions and it will respond to your queries. I think
Yeah,
there
but
is
that
some.
might be because so the most of these models are constrained by the context window.
Right, so
Uh,
it's a 2 million
Gemini
document
currently
or
supports
something.
1.5 million context windows, so it can parse big documents.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. But then it would be consuming this PDF out of the drive, right? The Google Drive.
Locally,
Maybe locally.
ultimately that uploaded to cloud somehow,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think.
Then it's fair. Yeah. Mhm. Okay.
Well, I if you ask me, I use AI mostly to write my bloatware code. Like
Okay.
Nice.
if
Tech
I'm
debt
writing, I
increased.
what I have find is it is really good when you are writing scripts like Python or any
Hmm.
kind of
Hmm.
JavaScript, etc.
Hmm.
It's really
Hmm.
helpful to write bloatware codes like HTML and CSS.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
what I have found is if you try writing C code, it can predict to some extent. But if you are working on a custom database, like very which where it's not generic construct, it sometimes create more noise than actual logic.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
But the
how I
the
actually use
database.
it? Yes. So most of these code assist, what they do is as you type like snippets, like code snippets or autocomplete will do the it will create some code something in light gray, giving you a prediction. Maybe this is what you are trying to type. The autocomplete feature in the IDEs, but the thing is those are limited to some
Hmm.
extent, like some words or some or one or two lines. But
Hmm.
AI, what I have seen is mostly with Copilot and others, like it tries to be smart and create the complete logic out of it, and to me sometimes that logic is not right, and I get distracted by that because I
Hmm.
Right.
want to read that what it generated, and that shifts my focus from what I was thinking to what it
What it
generated.
is. Hmm.
Hmm.
Then I find out it's useless. I get context switch back into what I was typing. I type that and it generates a new autocomplete suggestion big, which again distracts me. And
Yeah.
ultimately what I do is so I have to disable the autocomplete in
Yeah.
the code assist,
Hmm.
and I
Oh
use it in
yes.
the console mode. Like when I
Hmm.
want it to work, I go to console and type it. Can you do this for me in the code?
This just reminded me the whole point of it creating noise. So I also enabled this again llama 3 based. There is some extension in VS Code that can consume an LLM model and then try and predict the code. And my God, it's just a pain. Yeah, whatever Rajat mentioned is like 100% true. I'm trying to type something and it predicts like 3 lines worth of garbage. And pretty much the same situation, which is I think it's good for writing scripts. To some degree it does like a good job. Python scripts or shell scripts. C code really bad.
No,
The worst
even
thing
in
is
scripts, wherever you want to write the functional logic of the script, right? I have seen that I'm better off writing it myself. What I
Yeah.
can do is so for example, even in my C code, what I use it for is, let's say I want a linked list implementation. I just tell it implement a linked list for me in which the data structure should have XYZ elements,
Mhm.
and then it generates the bloatware code of what the node structure should look like: insert, remove, insert, delete, etc., print. And then I write the function logic whatever I want to do with that list. So for these purposes AI is really good,
Yeah,
is
I
what
think
I've
that's
seen.
fair. By the way, one other thing I want to call out is there were cases in which I asked it to generate code and it kind of generated some incorrect code. And then I call out saying, hey, these XYZ lines are wrong. And then it says, oh, yeah, 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 sorry, I made a mistake, and goes ahead, writes some new code, which also doesn't work. Like 60% of the time it doesn't work. And then I ask it to again correct it, and it uses the same library or the same incorrect statements from the first response. Like for example, if you some okay, I'm forgetting the response, kind of example that I asked it. I had yeah, okay, this is the one. So I was working on this course, like videos for the linker script course. And then at some point I asked it, hey, how can I ask the linker to strictly follow my linker script? Because apparently linkers, what they do is, while processing the linker script, they add stuff that is convenient. So for example, let's say Um, I wanted to demonstrate that I'm only picking some section from a given object file. Now, what happens is that object file has some content which is kind of available in another object file, like a global variable or something. What I wanted to demonstrate was that if I specifically mention that only include one object file, it should only include contents of that one object file. The linker is very convenient. If you give it the inputs and the other object file has the content, it will just add that in. So I wanted to kind of uh, try and find out if there is a flag, compiler flag, or not compiler but linker flag, that specifically restricts linker to only process the linker script I provided. So yeah, the llama 3 model says, oh, there is like this minus s option that you can use. I try it, doesn't work. Then I tell it that, hey, this option doesn't work. It's like, oh, sorry, my bad, my bad. Try arx. Then I try arx, and r is like an unknown option or something like that happens, and then I'm like, man, this is also wrong. Then
ARX
it's like
sounds like tar
something like
commands
that. Yes.
Yeah.
command. Okay, okay.
I think R and A might be relevant. X also
Hmm.
might be relevant, but they don't do what
It's
the model
supposed to.
told
Yeah.
me. Yeah. Then I tell it that, hey, this is also incorrect. It's not working, and then it goes ahead and uses the minus s option again.
Hmm.
And so this has happened with me. Like, this is one instance, but this has happened with me over and over again, enough times that I don't trust any output it gives me. I cross check it on Google
Yeah.
again, or
A
try to find.
hallucination is a big problem. Right? It
Yes.
Yeah.
just confuses. It just hallucinates. Like, hey, if let's say compiler has an option, then linker must also have a similar option.
No.
Just try out. Like, no.
Yeah.
But then, in that sense, it sounds as though it's becoming more and more human like, because
Hmm.
it's like, hey,
Yeah.
I'll just wing it. Let's see how far this goes. Oh, this didn't work. No problem. Try RX. Yeah,
कॉन्फिडेंस से बोला तो मानेगा.
But
exactly.
but yeah, it's good that we have a textual proof that what it said. Otherwise, like humans, it can just
Yeah.
deny. Hey man, I didn't say.
When did I say? Yeah, true. That can happen.
That's this reminds me earlier days when this chat GPT etc were there, and I was trying out. So at that time I was trying to work with the trace 32 and something else. So I and very custom. So that tool has a very custom debug script syntax,
Hmm.
and I'm like, but it's quite common. The manuals are out there, etc.
CMM
So
files.
I'm like, let's put AI to try. It's rather than me going and learning it, I want very small thing to do. Let me ask it. And so I asked, I think I asked multiple models the same question, and I asked them, can you generate a trace 32 script for me that can do XYZ functionality? And it generated the code, and I was like really amazed. I'm like, okay, it generated the code, it is really helpful. I don't have to go through the complete manual to understand it. I run that script, and the trace 32 complains that this is not even the syntax. Then I went back and read the manual, and that was not the syntax.
Ah, I think one thing that's starting to surface now is that the large language models are more or less just trying to predict the next word, right? They're just
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
predict more and more of the statement. And yeah, I mean, if you think of someone who is trying to just predict statements, and that's those statements happen to be something that look like code, doesn't mean that that machine might be actually understanding what it has written. Like,
Hmm.
so that's, at least to me, that is super clear now.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
one analogy comes to mind, like it's like the office scene where Michael Scott says, right? I just start a statement knowing without knowing where am I going, and just wing it on at runtime. Maybe AI is also kind of doing this.
Who knows? Who knows? Or at least, well,
Hmm.
fundamentally, it's just trying to predict the
Yeah,
next
the
word,
next
right?
word.
So
Hmm.
not everything it says is
Hmm.
accurate, and
Hmm.
at least that's my learning.
Well,
And again, I'm only
Hey,
exposed to
I'm
Llama
not
3.
really expert on this, but is there any way it can backtrack, saying, hey, this series of sentence doesn't lead me anywhere. Let me backtrack to the like start word and start again. Do you know if that is
Well, how
something
would
which,
it decide when to terminate and question
like,
itself?
I would imagine like the next words probability are so low, like
Hmm.
the best choice is even the worst compared to the previous choices. Like, had you gone past, some words, the
Hmm.
probability list becomes so narrow that you feel like, hey, let me go back and try. But do you know if that?
Well, I suppose that is where those settings come in. Be more creative, be more accurate. I think
The
they are called
temperature.
So,
temperature. Yeah, temperature
hmm,
settings. And I suppose there is also one to help the AI kind of backtrack a little bit, which is like regenerate the response. At least
I
in
see.
Chat GPT, I've
Hmm.
seen those
I think
options.
it's there in every model.
I
Is it
think it is
okay?
So,
Gemini also. Like they
hmm,
produce three responses. Like
yeah.
Hmm.
I see. Okay, okay, interesting. Um, okay.
But I do see a thing that things can improve, and I
Mm-hmm.
think as it gets used more and more often, it will improve. Again,
Okay.
I think it's 1.5 year, and that's too small for a software life cycle.
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
I don't think any of the big softwares were amazing within 1.5 year.
I suppose the last time something got built with this rapid pace was the COVID vaccines, and we don't know where they are like going, or what kind of side effects they will have later in life or even now. But okay, not a medical
And to
expert
quote
here.
Rajat, he's saying he doesn't. What did you say, man? You have never seen a software which is quite perfect in 1 year of its initiation.
1.5 year.
Yes, one and a
Yeah.
half year of.
I
Ah,
will show
okay.
you my calculator, which I built in college. It's perfect.
Got it right first
Got it
try.
right the first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my hello
Yeah,
world code one was.
I'm sure if I give it to some product manager, he'll find 500
Ouch.
plus faults in it, and then we'll
Ouch.
ask you to implement stand-ups and multiple cycles, and that will take another one and a half
Uh,
Track
year.
progress.
Sprints, all of that.
Yes. Provide a heat map of how the progress is going, sprint planning, all of
Yeah.
that.
So the thing is, when you use
Developer
it, and
appreciation.
nothing against it, it's in general. The more and more users use it, the more and more feedback comes in, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone, because like AIs, we also hallucinate. If XYZ feature was there in this, it would be really amazing, and that's what the creative part of humans is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
calculator
Yeah.
should also show temperature, just because
Exactly.
it
All
is
of that
useful.
good stuff. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think like right now, if you use AI for generic questions, like which are very popular and the content is present on the net, then it's like it will give you precise answer that okay, this is how you would want to go ahead. But then like if you are asking for some specific area, then it might give you some results which you don't know okay what is correct, and then also it hallucinates, so you cannot really see okay whatever you have received may not be correct, right? So you'll have to verify that. But I think personally for me, I don't use that much. But wherever I use, like on the Google, it generates that summary as ge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for generic queries, like if you are asking okay how do I develop a particular driver or a firmware or a particular maybe algorithm or software, it will give you some SGE content, and that is well formatted, that
You can
read
use that.
line
Yeah.
by line and then okay figure out okay this is the content, and then it will give you some snippets of the code, right?
Yeah.
So that you can figure out okay what is this code, and then again some content and then some lines of code, right? So that gives you how you can use it, how you can learn it to for your benefits, right?
Yeah. I think I would agree with that.
Mm.
It does narrow the search space a lot in
Right.
terms of like doing the research. It can give a lot of meaningful
It feeds
responses.
you the right
Hmm.
keywords where
Hmm.
you can go on about looking
Yeah.
for.
That I think is a major upshot of
Hmm.
the LLMs,
Mm.
wherein they kind of reduce the research time.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, that is true.
I think so. Some of the use cases like people have been highlighting are really amazing, except from the code space. If we take it
Hmm.
out from the code space, like summarizing documents,
Fair.
Mm.
summarizing
That's a good one.
conversations,
Mm.
those are really amazing. Like, so there were demos at the I/O, Google I/O, where they showcased its integration with Gmail and workspace
Hmm.
where you can
Hmm.
just rather than going to each group and reading all the messages, you can add a chatbot into it
Yeah.
and just ask, did anybody come to a conclusion on whether the event should happen or not? And it can
And
Yeah.
the answer will always be no. No one
No.
has come to a conclusion.
yeah, but I
Also,
think as a
also.
productivity it might, and as I said,
Hmm.
right, even in code assist, what I have found is it's really good at creating bloatware code. Another use case is creating unit tests for your code.
Hmm.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah.
It can do really great job at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
But
that
at the
part it.
functional end, like if like the one where they say SWE, right, where the product manager put
Hmm.
a requirement and it generates the code for you, and everybody's like, you don't need engineers, product managers can generate.
Yeah.
I think we are way far off from that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Far away
Yeah.
from that.
I,
And the
I think
way.
That's
Hmm.
here,
that man. That's what engineers would say, even if we are not. Like, I mean, just highlight.
Yeah. Don't worry
Highlight
about it.
this.
It's like far away.
yes. So for unit test, right, you cannot provide your actual code, but you have to specify okay what you are looking for, right?
No,
And
But
you
those
can.
I think. I
requirements
think.
has to
You
be
can. Actually, you can.
okay.
So what happens is how most of these companies are offering, like if you look at Copilot, etc., your code base, it does not train data on your train on your code base.
Hmm.
It
Okay.
infers on your code base. And even they are
Hmm.
not using it for the generic Copilot training.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
Your
I
code base never
suppose.
leaves the server.
Hmm.
Correct. So, the what Rajat is pointing to is
yeah.
given a code that you have written in your ID,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
AI will try and predict what kind of test to wrap
Yet
it
it will do
in.
inferencing, not the
Yeah.
training part. Okay.
And the
Yeah.
kind of inference it does then, like the basic ones is okay, it figures out what are like the data types of the inputs.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then,
Hmm.
okay, feed all combinations and check for all the return values
Hmm.
and done.
Right. Okay.
And I think the other problem with the code assist kind of code assist, and I think that may resolve over time, is licensing.
Oh, nice.
They, yeah, so it's trained on the data of the web, and it can generate code bases, etc., and tell you, and you are not even aware where it actually picked that snippet
Came
from.
from. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Attribution would become a problem.
Yeah.
Definitely. Perfect. By the way, I have to call it out right now, and I think the internet will also get to know. But it's dinner time on my end, and my mom is calling me. So
Yeah,
can I
sure.
drop
Like,
off
So
for dinner?
yeah.
I think we can record another follow up where
Sure.
we will have a question where okay will AI replace the embedded software
I think
engineer?
yeah, we have few
Yeah.
questions
Nice.
which we would like
Yeah.
to answer.
Yeah. So
You know,
these
discuss
are kind
among.
of questions that comes regularly on the LinkedIn and
Yeah.
This is like a cliffhanger, but
right.
in podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So next time
One of
around
its
we
kind.
one
Yeah.
of
Will
its.
yeah.
So next time around we chat on okay the probability of like AI replacing embedded engineer
Yeah.
and like
And it is
in what
none.
time
Zero. Zero.
zero.
Just kidding. Just kidding. No one knows.
Like I don't know, no
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
Cool.
No
Okay, so
comment.
Yeah.
let's drop off.
Comments next time maybe not today.
Not yeah, not now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Oh,
I,
cool.
I only believe that they can just I would say the only way for AI to replace embedded engineers if it starts building its own hardware.
Oh, if it
Because
gets
today
its
the
own.
documentation gap that comes from designer to embedded engineer is the reason why embedded engineers are needed in a lot of
Hmm.
in
Ah,
so
okay.
Yeah.
many
Don't
numbers.
give AI ideas, man. Come on. Like, abhi wo hardware.
I don't think I am giving ideas. People are already starting to
Yeah.
think in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's why Sam Altman needs $7 trillion to design AI chip. Maybe it's asking Chat GPT to design that chip.
Could be.
Then it would okay.
Cool.
We discuss next time.
You
Yeah.
Yes.
know, sorry, I'll just make final comment. It looks to me like that, like that situation of if you let the monkey put enough, alphabets in a
Oh,
row
this. Yeah.
for
It will
long
write a
enough,
Hamlet. Yeah. It will
yeah,
write entire
for
works
long
of
enough
Shakespeare.
time. Yeah,
Hmm.
it will
So
generate that.
nice.
Cool. Anyways, maybe, I'll go have dinner and let's
Yeah.
meet up
I,
next
I
time.
see a flying chapel on your way.
Hmm.
You should leave now.
Belen, man.
Yeah.
Belen. It's
Yeah.
dinner
Eight,
time,
Dylan.
so
I,
Belen is in time.
not one,
Mom's
two.
nice, man. My
अब दो
mom's
आती है.
nice.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, okay. This is
Yeah,
one
मैं
thing.
समझा
One
नहीं.
wife.
I didn't get it. I didn't.
One mummy, one
One
wife.
from mom.
Oh yeah.
Cut.
Bo- both
Okay.
of them are super amazing human beings. I love both of them.
Yes,
Why
you
did
Literally
have
you
to
love.
say
wink?
that.
Why did you wink at the last?
I didn't. I did. I did.
Okay.
Anywho, let's drop off for
Yeah.
now and
Okay.
let's catch up next time.
Yes.
Take
Okay.
care,
Okay. See
See
you
folks.
you
Bye
guys.
guys.
bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye.